Is your push-up secretly working against you? Most people assume they already know how to do a push-up. Hands down, chest down, push back up. Simple, right? Except most push-ups performed today are quietly leaking effort through bad hip position, bad hand placement, and bad breathing. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to align your hips, place your hands, time your breath, and position your elbows so every single rep builds real strength instead of wasting energy on a shaky, inefficient movement. The push-up has survived as a staple exercise for generations, and for good reason. It's a complete bodyweight movement that challenges your arms, your chest, your core, and even your legs, all in one motion. But mastering it safely means understanding every piece of the chain, not just the part your eyes can see. Start from the ground up, because your lower body sets the foundation for everything happening above it. Without proper core, hip, and leg engagement, your push-up falls flat before your arms even finish the job. So what does proper engagement actually feel like? Keep your core tight. Tilt your pelvis slightly under you. Engage your glutes as though you're bracing for a light tap to the stomach. This isn't about looking stiff or tense. It's about creating one solid, stable platform that your upper body can push against. Why does this matter so much? Picture your torso as a bridge stretched between your shoulders and your heels. A sagging bridge makes everything crossing it harder and less efficient. A tight, engaged core keeps that bridge rigid, so the force generated by your arms transfers cleanly through your entire body instead of leaking out through a dipping spine or a lifted hip. Maintain a straight line running from your head all the way to your heels. Not a curve. Not a sag in the middle. Not a peak at the hips. Just one continuous, level line, like a plank of wood resting between two chairs. Your legs matter more than most people give them credit for. Keep them fully extended and pressed close together. Narrowing your base like this actually increases the demand placed on your stabilizing muscles, and that added demand is exactly what makes the exercise effective in the first place. A wider stance, or knees that drift apart, quietly steals difficulty away from the muscles that should be doing the work. Here's a mistake worth watching closely. A lot of people start pushing their hips back and up as they rise, especially once fatigue creeps in during later reps. Unless you're intentionally performing a pike push-up, avoid that pattern completely. It's a shortcut your body reaches for to reduce the load on your shoulders and chest, but it also reduces almost everything you were hoping to gain from the rep. Stay neutral. Stay level. Resist the urge to fold at the hips just to squeeze out one more repetition. Now shift your attention upward, because your upper body form is where most of the visible mistakes tend to happen. Place your hands on the ground at roughly a 45-degree angle relative to your torso, keeping them in line with your shoulders rather than up near your ears or down by your waist. Not flared straight out to the sides. Not pointed directly forward either. Why 45 degrees specifically? This angle keeps your shoulder joint sitting in a stronger, more supported position throughout the entire movement. Hands turned too far outward place unnecessary strain on the front of the shoulder with every single rep. Hands turned too far inward shift more of the workload onto your triceps than your chest and shoulders can comfortably share between them. Breathing is the next piece, and it's one people tend to skip entirely, almost like it's an afterthought instead of a technique. Breathe in as you lower yourself toward the ground. Breathe out as you push firmly back up. Why bother timing your breath at all? Controlled, rhythmic breathing helps regulate the pressure building inside your torso, which directly supports the rigid, plank-like posture built earlier in this breakdown. Exhaling during the pushing phase also helps you generate more usable force at exactly the moment you need it most, right as your arms straighten back toward the top. Then there's elbow position, one of the most common breakdowns of all, and one of the easiest to fix once you notice it. You might feel tempted to flare your elbows outward, especially as fatigue builds during the later reps of a set. Try to keep them close to your body instead, pointed backward rather than winged out to the sides like a letter T. What's the actual risk hiding inside flared elbows? That position places extra rotational stress directly on the shoulder joint, the kind of stress that quietly accumulates over hundreds, then thousands, of repetitions performed over months and years of training. Keeping your elbows tucked redirects that force through the muscles built to handle it, your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps, instead of routing it through a joint that was never designed to absorb that particular angle of pressure. There's one more detail worth pausing on before moving forward, and that's range of motion. A lot of people shorten their push-up without even realizing it, stopping halfway down because the bottom position feels uncomfortable or unfamiliar. Lower yourself until your chest hovers just above the ground, or as close to that as your current strength allows. Cutting the range short doesn't just look sloppy, it quietly removes a huge portion of the muscle-building benefit hiding in the bottom half of the movement, right where your chest and shoulders are stretched under the most load. How do you know if your depth is actually correct? A simple check is whether your upper arms come close to parallel with the ground at the bottom of the rep. If your arms barely bend before you're already pushing back up, that's a signal to slow down and go deeper, even if it means doing fewer repetitions with better quality. Tempo matters here too. Rushing through push-ups, bouncing off the bottom position, turns a strength exercise into more of a momentum exercise. Lower yourself with control, pause briefly at the bottom without collapsing, then push back up with intent. Slowing down the descent alone can make a set of 10 push-ups feel dramatically harder than the same 10 performed carelessly. Put every one of these pieces together and something noticeably different happens in your training. Your core stabilizes your spine. Your legs anchor a solid, narrow base. Your hand placement and elbow position protect your shoulder joints. Your breath supports the entire structure from the inside out. Rep after rep, none of these elements work alone. They form a single connected chain, and like any chain, the whole thing is only as strong as its weakest link. It isn't simply an arm exercise, and it isn't simply a chest exercise either. It's closer to a coordination exercise wearing the disguise of a strength exercise, quietly training your entire body to move as one connected, efficient system every single time you lower yourself down and press firmly back up. Remember that question from the very start of this video: is your push-up secretly working against you? If even one habit just described sounded familiar, that's very likely the exact habit quietly costing you the most progress, set after set. Fix that single detail during your very next training session, and you'll probably feel the difference almost immediately: a cleaner, more stable, more demanding rep that actually challenges the muscles it was always meant to target. Master these small details, and the humble push-up stops being just a warm-up movement squeezed in before the real workout begins. It becomes one of the most efficient full-body exercises available anywhere, requiring nothing more than a small patch of floor and a little bit of patience with your own form. If this breakdown helped clean up your push-up, hit like and subscribe to FitLab for more form guides just like this one.